Welcome in, guys. I think I got like a drop of this left. It's not even a sad shot today, or whatever's left of it. Pathetic. I gotta go to the liquor store tomorrow. It's not even a sad shot today. Welcome in, guys. Panthers are going to Game 7. They lose to the Toronto Maple Leafs 2-0 in Game 6 in their barn. Just an odd energy game from the Cats today. I really got to figure for the Maple Leafs. It was an interesting game. Not the most exciting game. It was an interesting game because they come out in the first period pretty much, I would say it was an all Maple Leafs first period of this game. Panthers just got like 2 shots on goal. Couldn't really get much going on that. That was even with some power plays going their way. And I was texting with my buddy. I'm just like, it just felt like very regular season energy. Now, give credit to Toronto today. I mean, they were absolutely fantastic, and breaking up shots, getting in front of shots, block shots today. That was very much on point today for the Maple Leafs. And I think for their standpoint, they got to be pretty proud of that because it just felt like anytime the Panthers had momentum on something, couldn't get it going. It felt like Wall basically was on one and done. He was just seeing one shots, not a lot of rebounds that were clean looks in traffic. I just thought that Toronto brought that in the first period for sure. And then the second period, it felt very much like the Cats had turned the tide on this thing. And, we're starting to get more action. They looked juiced up. They had a lot of good looks, probably their best looks of the game in this scenario. I thought they would have broken through at some point. Etulo-Starinen was playing really strong. Not that I did have a Finnish parlay today with him, Lundy, and Nico Mikkola. Probably should have stayed away from Nico Mikkola, knowing that he is a polar bear on skates and doesn't score very much, but I couldn't help myself. And I think he had basically like one time today where like he could have gotten one. But for the most part, it was a quiet night for the Finnish polar bear. But Etu just brought that energy from all over the place. And it really did feel like that after that second period, even though it was nothing other, I'm like, this felt like the Cats were back in this thing, and it felt like just a matter of time. And it very much was feeling that way in the third period for sure as well. And a bad turnover leads to an Austin Matthews goal that slips through Bob. For a guy who's been just as in the zone, I'm not crushing Bobrovsky to, the guy's been friggin' unbelievable the last few games. You can't expect him to be, he's not a god. He's as much of a legend as he is. He's not a god. And so, he's going to have slip-ups every now and he was put in a bad position by Ekblad as it was. So that was unfortunate. I think, for the good side of this, look, I think this fan base, everybody has faith that you're going up for a Game 7. You've been in tougher environments and tougher spots to come back and climb out of. Yeah, you had a chance to close out at home. Paul Maurice was talking about this today, about, the experience of that. And he's like, it refreshes every single time. And I think, Paul, I'm not listening to his comments, but I imagine that today, one of those games where I don't think he's going to overreact to. I think you could see a team that had a disgusting effort coming out of the gate. And, a lot of that did have to do with Toronto. And I think this will garner the faith of the coach to get them going. They know they're going to a hostile atmosphere. It's going to be crazy up there for sure. But I also think that it's a game where if the Panthers can get a jump on it early, you could get the squeaky cheeks going in that building once again. On the bad side of things for the Cats, I mean, there's been a lot of scrutiny on Austin Matthews this entire series. It felt like a fan base that was ready to turn on a lot of their stars and start from scratch and move along. And while Matthews has been, doing a lot on offense. It felt like he was getting outplayed by the Cats' top guys. And for him to get going today, even with taking the hit they did, coming back, he showed toughness, he showed grit, and then he also gets on the scoreboard for the first time this series. That, if you're the Panthers, could be a little bit of a worry because you wonder, all right, he feels like he's got the burden lifted off of him. He's a big reason now as to why their season extended. That is a big-time captain's performance. What does that mean for him going forward? Does that feel like all of the burden is now let up? Now, if they lose this game, it's going to go right back to it because people will be like, damage is done, too little, too late. But right at the right time to break through like that and have a goal like that, even if it wasn't like the most amazing goal in the world, it kind of slipped through almost on an unexpectedness from Bob. Even with that happening, there's no way that doesn't come into Game 7 with Matthews feeling a little bit lighter, a little bit less pressure on him. So for his standpoint, personally, that was a big one. And I figure, and Wall's got to feel great too, because it did feel like the Cinderella story was coming to an end a little bit with him. And now he comes in with a 22-save shutout. He has to feel absolutely fantastic. So I think those two things personally for the Maple Leafs have to be absolutely, absolutely feeling huge for this. For them to get that kind of performance from their goaltender and that all-around effort plus a goal from their captain is definitely going to be a big boost with them going into their barn. But the confidence remains strong. Let us not get twisted. The confidence was strong for me down 2-0. The confidence was strong for me down 0-2. The confidence was strong for me down 1-2. And the confidence is strong for me 3-3. The Panthers deserve it. They are a champion who is known to be able to put bad stuff behind them. Look no further than last year. I mean, this is a team that had a 3-0 lead, let it get all the way down to 3-3 on the brink of infamy, and was able to put forth a great effort in Game 7. Now, to be fair, this one is going to be on the road. It's going to be hostile. It's going to be crazy up there. But I think the Panthers already know. I think for me, while that's going to be big-time energy, I've only seen one game where it got, like, I think it really shell-shook him, and I think it was especially for Bennett when that whole controversy was going on. I really think that waned on him because it was an odd disappearing act for him. But this one did have some like Game 2 like qualities with how Toronto was able to get the block shots and not allow the Cats to get going. But this is probably their best effort of the series to keep the Cats scoreless for the first time in this series. And for a Panthers team that, I mean, its offense was firing pretty damn good for the last 3 games. I mean, obviously 6 goals last time. The 2-0 win that they had in Game 5, hell, that was a great game from Wall, and it could have been, a lot worse for Toronto. And then, of course, we had the very weird but critical Game 3 where pucks were bouncing all over the place, but the series survives. Like, to me, Game 7 is going to be awesome. Coming at you on Sunday, 7:30. It's gonna be Goosies galore, man. I'm not shaken by it at all. I'm excited about it. This obviously was not the Panthers' best effort. It was a bit of a malaised start for them, and it felt like to me it felt like they were knocking on the door up until the Matthews goal, and it felt like once the Matthews goal happened, it was just like, all right, well now we got to chase, and we're in a different spot. And, you're hopeful that they could just put it behind them, which they typically do. They typically do. And for Bob, he's been on absolutely such a heater. That was a stinker that got through, but it was also put him in a weird spot from Ekblad. And so I'm not crushing him on that. The one that made it 2-0, it was a beautiful pass. So, again, he's not a god. He's not going to stop everything. So remain confident that he'll be able to go out there and bounce back, no problem. He's already felt like he's played worse in this series and then looked like an absolute demon in overtime to kind of flip the narrative of this. So we'll see, man. I'm still feeling okay going back up there. They've shown their capability of winning in Toronto, so I don't think that is going to be some vaunted task for them. I mentioned what I think is got to have them a little bit worried is that, all right, Matthews had a lot of pressure on him. All right, the burden is lightened up a little bit. So now the Cat needs some of their big dogs to come through because they had a bit of a weird one where a lot of different dudes were scoring for him, and this is one where you need your best guys to pop through for you in this Game 7 performance. But can't wait for it. And best 2 words in sports, man. Let's get after it. Let's get after it. It's 3 words. The best 2 words in sports is Game 7, just so you guys, in case you guys weren't up on that. The second best 2 words in sports are cat fever.